Hello everyone, today I'm talking about 5th grade mental and emotional health. And since I'm in 5th grade right now, this is a really big topic that I've been trying to stress to my students in my classroom as well. There's a lot of people that have been bullying or picking on other students, and it's a serious matter, and I feel like students don't really see it sometimes as something serious. So today we're going to be talking about standards, ELA GSE 5W3. This is incorporating writing narratives to develop real or imagined experiences or events using effective techniques and descriptive details and clear event sequences. They will be giving a conclusion that will follow their narrated experiences or events. And then also we are incorporating the HE 5.1, where students will comprehend concepts related to health promotion and disease prevention and enhancing health. And the element that we're describing is to seek health care. We can discuss why it's important to talk to a parent, a counselor, or other medical professionals when consistently feeling sad, anxious, or depressed. And then a national health standard was Standard 4, and this is the physically literate individual exhibits responsible personal and social behavior that respects themselves and others. So these are all really important, especially for 5th grade, and not just 5th grade, but all students to know a little bit about the background of why it's so important that we talk about our feelings, and also being able to help others, because I feel like in the time that we live right now, empathy is just not taught to students, and that's something that they should know about. They should help others. They should be involved in, sticking up for people who are bullying, or even they may be the bully. I feel like it's important that we stress that to students, that it is important. And so in my activity today, I'm going to be doing from the website walkinourshoes.org. And one of the first things that I would do is go through some myths versus facts about mental and emotional health. And I'm going to read to you a couple of myths and facts that they had on their website. And so the first one would be kids get depression and anxiety disorders. Or kids can't get depression and anxiety disorders, only adults can. And that is a myth, because kids obviously can get depression, not just adults, and they can also have anxiety disorders. Another myth would be that kids only get a mental illness because they have bad parents. Well, that would be a myth, because it doesn't matter. It could just be something from they've inherited, or it doesn't really have anything to do with if you have good parents or not. That a child could just have a mental illness due to other reasons. A fact about mental and emotional health would be kids can develop a mental illness like depression and anxiety disorders. This happens to anyone at any age. So it can happen to anyone at any age. And I think we really want to stress that, to not only the students, but also to parents, because they may not be aware. And on this website, it also talks about things for parents to view as well. So if they had a problem, they wanted to maybe talk about with their students, they can do that as well, not just teachers. Another fact is mental illness is not caused by doing something wrong. Also, you can't cause someone else to have a mental illness, so that's really important, because I feel like sometimes students may have the wrong impression that they can get it from someone else. Doctors think that mental illness is caused by a mix of what's going on in your body and what's happening around you. Okay, so those would be some, again, some myths and facts that I would do as like a little icebreaker before we get started on our lesson, just to have the kids sort out, oh, hey, this may be a myth, or that may be a fact, and it may clarify something that they didn't know, or maybe they already knew. So for the next thing in our lesson, there's several lessons in this packet. I think it actually goes up, they're like lesson 8. So you could do several of these activities, which are really awesome. I find all of them really beneficial for 5th grade. You could probably do some for younger ages as well. But I would have my students break into about 4 groups, and then I would have them read there's different scenarios, or actually no, I would be doing the different scenarios, talking about different mental health issues that the students may not be aware of. So I would go through here and I would read Walk in Our Shoes, and it's talking about what is mental health. And so I would read, what does mental health mean? And then I would talk about health is the way that the body feels and works. Being healthy means more than just being sick. When your body is healthy, you feel good. You are able to go to school, hang out with friends, and do the things you need to do every day. This is also having a healthy mind. It lets you learn and play and understand others. Mental health means having good ways to deal with your feelings and how to enjoy life, and even when things are hard. Having a healthy mind and body are both very important. Everyone has good days and bad days, and I think that's really important that we let students know that, yes, we may be off some days, and that's okay, because everyone's going to have an off day. So a bad day doesn't mean that you have a mental illness, but you can still improve your mental health by talking about your feelings or expressing your feelings. And so I would just go through each category. Like the next one is what kinds of people get mental illnesses, and I would go through and read the different information about that. Then I would go to what does it mean to be diagnosed, and then what is stigma is the next category. And then living with mental illness, how to act with a mental illness. And then after I got done reading from this little packet about what mental illness, or what is mental health, we would go through and I would call out questions to the students in our little Walk in Our Shoes packet. And I would tell them ahead of time that we're going to play a little game afterwards, so they need to be listening throughout our discussion about what mental health means. And whoever in those 4 groups gets the most questions right, they would get some kind of reward, maybe a piece of candy or extra free time during the day. So some of the questions that we have here would be, being healthy includes A, having a body that feels good and works well, B, having a healthy mind and body, C, not being sick, or D, all of the above. So down here it has some little teacher notes, and it just says, the emphasis is on physical and mental health both being important to overall health. Being healthy includes more than just the physical. Wellness is more than the absence of illness. So I would go through each of these questions, and whichever group can answer the most, they would be our winners. And again, I would stress that to them in the beginning and just let them know that this is going to be what we're going over. Just to check also to see if they're listening and see if they understood the lesson throughout. And if they didn't, then I'd have to re-engage in something else. So another question on here would be, mental illness can occur only after a person has reached adulthood. Well, we already said that was false because that was in one of our myths. So some of these questions would also come from our myths and facts, so that was good that we went over that in the beginning. Another question would be, having a mental illness can affect the way that a person behaves, thinks, feels, or all of the above. And that would be D, all of the above. So at the end of our little game, there's about, there's 10 questions here, so that would take a little bit of time, but I would tell the students, we'll keep score, see who can get the most, and at the end they would definitely get some kind of reward. Okay, and then probably the next thing that I would have my students do is I really like to have the students act out and be a part of something, so I've got these little strip cards that are about role-playing. And I would have my students act these things out in groups. So the first one is just a scenario saying, a friend forgot their lunch at home and they don't have food to eat at lunchtime. Put yourself in their shoes. How would you feel? What could you do to help? So, if that were me and I were acting that out, I would have a friend beside me. Whoops.